It's January, but I think the one thing that's different from previous seasons is it feels like they don't have many buttons left to push. They committed to going with this aging core. We're going to bring the band back together one more time. We're going to see how this goes. How many more things can you do to try to shake it up? I see a lot of Penguins fans, and I can understand the sentiment, Bob, saying, come on, shake this thing up, do something, show that you've got signs of life here, show that you care, show that you're not going to accept the status quo. And I just wonder how much Ron Hextall can realistically do. They just seem to have sort of pot committed themselves to a certain way of being. And the peril of that is in the NHL, if you get old, you can get old real quick.
Yeah, we've seen it with so many teams over the years, teams that won multiple Stanley Cups and then kind of aged out. They still can play, but they just can't compete at the top echelon level. And maybe the Penguins are there. Who knows? Maybe they can get it together. They're missing a couple of good players, obviously, with Chris Letang and Jeff Petrie on defense, Tristan Jarry. But these are games that you have to come up with points against, especially knowing that these are young teams getting better as they go. Anyway, we'll get to some basketball talk in a second. I want to ask your thoughts about the official word that Matt Canada will be back. And quite frankly, he got a ton of endorsements from players, including Kenny Pickett. If you listened to the podcast the other night with Cam Hayward, he came pretty much out and said he's looking forward to working with Matt Canada in year number 2 together.
It's a tough time for us bald guys with some facial hair around town, Bob. We might get confused for Matt Canada and have people ready to launch rotten tomatoes our way. I think it's a bad decision by the Steelers. I think what's more troubling is the fact that every report you've read from the insiders suggests that this was never really a move that was in doubt, that the Steelers might have taken the somewhat unusual step of announcing it when sometimes in these situations they just don't say anything and you go, okay, the guy's got a year left on his contract, he's coming back. But the fact that it was never really in doubt makes me really question how much Art Rooney, how much Mike Tomlin are willing to keep up with the Joneses, which they say they don't care about in the NFL. This was not a good offense by any measure. They were 23rd in points per drive in the NFL. Every single team worse than them in that particular category, Bob, has fired their offensive coordinator or their head coach or obviously done something radical or major to shake things up and change things. The Steelers haven't, and I think they are investing in fool's gold if they are basing most of this on the second half of the year, the post-bye week performance.
Well, I was going to ask you that. Based on that, you can see improvement. But if you want to play devil's advocate, and I guess I will here real quick before we go to break, what if that, last year Matt Canada had Ben Roethlisberger, who was an older version of himself, couldn't implement what he wanted to do. What if he didn't have his quarterback until, week number 5 or 6, whenever Kenny Pickett got in? All those things can make you wonder that this offense really wasn't going to get the best Matt Canada imprint on it until you got this guy in there playing regularly. You saw improvement in his game. You also saw improvement in the run game. What if it takes off next year?
I mean, what do we think that there's going to be? Sudden influx of successful deep balls, receivers running open? I mean, they had three.
Maybe.
Three plays all season of 40 yards or more. I think Trubisky might have been responsible for at least one of them.
He was.
They had one touchdown over 30 yards, and it was a busted coverage that was a complete pitch and catch. I don't know, Bob. You might be playing devil's advocate here, but I don't have much sympathy for the devil in this case. Sorry, I'm trying to make the best devil-related pun that I can. Please allow me to introduce myself. I'm Matt Canada, and I'm exactly what most fans think I am as a coordinator. I will be shocked, pleasantly shocked, and I'll eat my words. Maybe I'll bring a plate here for everybody so they can watch me do it. I'll eat my words if they suddenly look like an explosive down-the-field offense because Matt Canada finally has some stability.
Well, I won't say explosive down the field, but I think more layers to their offense, and if their defense is good enough, it may be good enough to get it done. We'll see. They made their commitment. That's what it is, and we'll move forward from that point on. And when we come back, we're going to talk about Pitt because that's still one of the better stories going on right now. When was the last time they were favored by 10 at the Yum Center in Louisville and then covered that spread impressively? We'll talk about that and take your calls at 412-575-2600 right here live. It's the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. Don't go away.